This episode of Founders Unfiltered is brought to you by Thompson Hine. Thompson Hine's New Ventures Group represents high-growth companies of all sizes in the technology, healthcare, life sciences, consumer product, media, and medical device industries, and a full range of the angel, venture capital funds, corporate innovation groups, and economic development organizations that invest in them. Instead of a confusing hourly rate-based model, the team at Thompson Hine uses its quick launch platform to offer menu-based pricing to help startups grow their teams and take on outside investors. For more information, please visit thquicklaunch.com. Welcome to Founders Unfiltered. I am your host, Freddie Coffey. Of course, Founders Unfiltered is a monthly series featuring candid conversations with tech founders, and today I have the pleasure of talking to Dominique King, a digital marketing pro, tech entrepreneur, and the founder of the I Heart My HBCU mobile app. In 2017, King was the first to bridge spare change technology to support all 104 historically black colleges and universities with the I Heart My HBCU platform launch. As a graduate of Howard University, she knows firsthand the importance of preserving the rich heritage and viability of HBCUs. Dominique hails from Houston, Texas, and is now based in Atlanta, Georgia. I am excited to welcome you, Dominique. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much, Freddie. I am excited to be here on your show today and just share a little bit more about me and my organization.
Well, I want to make the absolute best use of our time, so let's get right into it right away. We'll start with I Heart My HBCU. Give us your 60-second or 3-minute or 5-minute elevator pitch on what you're working on.
So I Heart My HBCU, we are the first spare change app for historically black colleges and universities. So if you are looking for a donor marketplace that makes it easy to donate to all HBCUs in a single place, that's what I Heart My HBCU allows you to do. So really everyone has a cell phone. Hopefully you can see mine. So you just go to your app store, look for I Heart My HBCU, and then after you download it, you can take a preview of the app, or you can go ahead and add your bank card and select your 5 favorite HBCUs to donate to. And after that, you will automatically be giving spare change to these institutions any time of the day.
So there's 104 historically black colleges and universities. It's a wide audience, but it seems like a niche problem that you're solving here, but a very unique one. What inspired you to launch this company?
So my inspiration just came from the fact that, I'm an HBCU graduate of Howard University. Both my parents attended HBCUs, and it was another closure was happening, or near closure. At the time, it was Bennett College around 2016. And it was very emotional for me, just because I attended an HBCU and they have such a rich legacy. And I think anyone who's just a part of, a part of our community could just really understand that. So whether you went to an HBCU or not, it just really touches you, and it made me want to do something about it. I didn't want it to be a situation where, okay, another school's about to close and now we come together. I wanted to create something that makes it easy for HBCU alumni and friends of HBCUs to give anytime. And so that's really where my inspiration came from.
So we're both marketers here. Let's talk a little shop about that. Before you launched your app, what did you discover about your customers, about this target audience that you're going for?
So some things that I discovered about the target audience really is their challenges or roadblocks to giving. Mm-hmm. So their main challenges really just stem from some of the inequities that African Americans face just in the workplace, right? So when we graduate, and African Americans and graduates of HBCUs, but when we graduate from our institutions, we don't come out not making as much as our peers from PWIs. So we have lower salaries. Another challenge that we have to overcome is while a lot of people graduate with student loan debt, students that graduate from HBCUs tend to have higher student loan debt than students coming out of your PWIs. And then thirdly, but again, in no particular order, we have this idea, and I say we because I'm a part of that HBCU alumni target demographic, but we have this idea that our small change doesn't matter. So the desire for us to give is there, and we really want to. But if I only have $5, $10, or $15, or really even just a few cents to give, I'm thinking, you know what, that is such a small amount that it's insignificant. And so those are the primary reasons that the target demographic really just don't give to HBCUs. And lastly, but not a direct reason, is HBCUs lack that, a lot of them lack that infrastructure of having a full fundraising department to reach out to their alumni, right? So they don't have someone picking up the phone like a student, hey, can you donate today? Calling, automated emails and text messages, that communication piece that is critical to, growing your donor base, it's not happening, right, at a lot of HBCUs. And so for all those reasons, we're not, HBCU alumni are not giving as much.
So you touched on a few things there, but obviously the want to give is there. There's just this, it seems, this psychological stumbling block that if I don't have enough, it might not make a difference, but we know, compounding it together certainly can make a difference. So how specifically does the spare change technology kind of address that stumbling block?
Right. So spare change addresses that because it empowers that user. It empowers HBCU alumni because, ultimately, you have those three, there are four reasons why, we're not donating as much, but the three core reasons, two of them have some commonalities, right? And those commonalities really was, lack of money. So I have some money, but I don't have a lot. But the third reason really dealt with just, insecurities and feeling like, again, what I have isn't going to make a difference, and who really wants my $5 or my 99 cents or my, 20 cents here, right? So if you cannot overcome that insecurity, then it doesn't matter if you, create another avenue where donations can be accepted if I still feel that my donations don't matter, right? And so the solution was really just creating a platform that empowers HBCU alumni so they know that every few cents, every little bit of change, that it really matters and it makes a difference. And spare change just it solves that problem in the fact that's all we want. We don't want big dollars. We want $5, 99 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents, because we know in large numbers it will make a difference. And our goal with the schools that we partner with right now is to grow each HBCU community to 10,000 strong, because 10,000 strong can get I think I'm being conservative with this number, but 10,000 strong for each HBC community is an extra $2.5 million per year for each HBCU. Wow. And I think that's definitely achievable.
It certainly does add up. I remember probably a decade or 15 years ago at this point where I had a Bank of America account that would drop, your spare change into a savings account. And after 3 months, it's a car payment, I don't know how many times I went to Taco Bell that they rounded up and ended up giving me a car payment at that point. But think about all those people combining all that. That's amazing. What have been some of your biggest challenges to launching the company?
Well, I would say, oh gosh, when we get to challenges. Okay, well, I have a marketing background. Mm-hmm. So I didn't start in tech. And so I do get asked the question, how did you end up transitioning from marketing to tech? And really, I would say for me personally, it was really just a natural transition. And I think what really helped is, one, I do just have an entrepreneurial spirit. And that entrepreneur spirit just drives me to always find better ways to do things regardless of the industry, right? And then secondary to that, I've been in marketing for 10 plus years. And with that experience, I'm always staying abreast of, what are the current trends? How are customers responding to these trends? And how do these trends affect my portfolio of clients, right? And I'm only as good as what I know. So the more I know about trends and how they're impacting, various industries, then I'm able to, perform better at my job every day and service my clients better. I'm, a better resource, right? And so that knowledge base really assisted me and being able to identify early on a solution that would address the pain points of this target demographic. So I didn't have to, look too far or think too hard when this problem did arise with Bennett College to come up with a viable solution that would really work.
You had a need or a problem in need of a solution, as opposed to, there's so many tech entrepreneurs or tech ideas out there that are a solution looking for a problem in some cases. So I think
right, like they're trying to let's find a problem to fix today. But yeah, this the problem with HBCUs, it really tugged at my heart, and I do get emotional about it. And whatever you decide to do in life, it doesn't have to be something that is for a greater good. It just so happened that this right here, this problem that I'm solving is for a greater good.
This is for a greater good, and it is a nonprofit as opposed to a for-profit.
Yes.
So thank you for giving me a perfect segue. What are some of the positives and negatives of running a nonprofit tech company as opposed to a for-profit tech company?
I think about that every day. I just thought that this would be better served as a nonprofit because, I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for my culture, for my people, and I couldn't really see it any other way. But, now that I've been in the space for a few years, I do understand how it could have been for profit. And I feel like the difference would have been, I feel like I probably would have got it funded quicker. And it probably would have grown much faster. And, I think about that as really, we are still in startup phase. And I do wish I was a lot further along in terms of getting the word out and, scaling up I Heart My HBCU. And a lot of what I've been doing, it has been bootstrapping, it has been, investing my own funds to really bring this good technology to HBCUs. Trying to get to your answer about pros and cons. I feel like I'm kind of answering it, but, so the way I have to get around that now is, okay, go back to my strategy, right? Because, obviously when I rolled out my company, I rolled it out with a strategic plan, but I have to refine it, in order to find a way to, to reach my next milestone, and for that, it would be 10,000 downloads. So, I'm calling out to everyone, if you're listening, download I Heart My HBCU. Help us hit our next milestone of 10,000 downloads and active users so we can give back and support HBCUs. So that's my one plug right there. But yeah, so as far as just like pros and cons, I'm refining my strategy so I can have continued success. So HBCUs can really feel the benefits of the spare change that I feel like can really, just impact them positively. So yeah, I again, just to summarize, I do see some differences in terms of private versus nonprofit. For me personally, just really tugs at my heart. So I don't see that changing. I just
Hmm.
see myself refining my strategy so I can have better success for HBCUs.
You mentioned in there a little that you might, or you wish that you were a little bit farther along in the startup phase than where you are, and maybe that does have to do with the nonprofit versus for profit and the ability to fundraise, one versus the other, especially in the tech space. How
Right.
have you leveraged networking and local resources to help kind of speed that growth, or push your startup along?
Well, so a lot of what we did was grassroots,
Hmm.
but I Heart My HBCU is really meant to be, and it was grassroots and locally, right?
Sure.
But it's really it's a tech platform. It's meant to be delivered nationwide to a mass group of people all at one time, right? So again, it goes back to refining my strategy in order to hit the milestones that we, have laid out.
So you are in. I'm coming to you from Northeast Ohio, from Cleveland. You're in Atlanta.
Yes,
You
indeed.
are not the first entrepreneur that we've talked to from Atlanta. In
Okay.
fact, we had the founder and CEO of Coins on, so you're not even the first fintech
Okay.
entrepreneur that we've had in Atlanta. What is it about Atlanta's tech scene?
Oh gosh, I was surprised to learn of all the tech entrepreneurs that we do have in Atlanta, and I kind of got the insight on another company that is coming our way. And yeah, I was just really surprised by the growth that we're seeing. Could we possibly be the next Silicon Valley? I don't see why not. Atlanta has, there's a lot of colleges and universities and HBCUs right there in the city of Atlanta, and I think we do a good job attracting the right kind of talent. So I'm really not surprised by the growth that we're seeing in the tech industry in Atlanta.
You sound like a tech expert now, but as you mentioned earlier, you have a communications and marketing background.
Mhm.
Um, you touched on this, but what obstacles and knowledge gaps when entering the tech space did you have? Did What kept you up at night around like understanding the tech space, and how did you address those issues?
Well, I feel like in terms of knowledge gaps, so I code, but I haven't coded in years. And so I know that technology is forever changing. Um, but I think, I didn't really see myself having a challenge with the technology aspect, to be honest. I feel like, my biggest challenge is, you know, refining my strategy,
Hmm.
and getting the word out there so people know about this great technology and, this great platform to serve HBCUs. The technology aspect, it wasn't anything that intimidated me or that I felt that I couldn't overcome. I was able to identify, a good group of people to work with to bring my vision to life. And I'm very, for someone in this role, you have to be very, detail oriented.
Hmm.
And so that's just a, natural characteristic of mine. So when it came to clearly communicating my vision and certain requirements that I wanted to see in the application, not that we didn't ever have to tweak anything, but I felt I did a pretty good job of communicating that so I can, have the type of product that I wanted, and I do.
You may be just a great communicator by nature as part of your marketing and communications background, but
Well, I think it
do you? I
helps,
was. Go ahead.
well, sorry to cut you off, but no, I do think it helps because you're thinking about the functionality of certain, features in your app, and you're also thinking about that user experience. And so because I do come from marketing, like I'm just obsessed with that end user, and I'm thinking about how are they going to respond to this. And so I just don't take that hat off, and that's a good thing, because I'm not building the app just for myself or just for my tech team to, so it could be easier on them. I'm building it for alumni and friends of HBCU. So, everything I do, it's with that kind of thinking in mind.
Do you have any tips or tricks from someone who has that end user perspective in mind to articulate that vision to developers that you're working with?
Just a better way to articulate that, have a really good project management system. I use Trello. That's something that's very user friendly, and it's economical, so if you don't have all your systems in place, that's a good resource to add to your technical stack. What I would also add to that, I think what really helped me is identifying the right technical stack. Because if I didn't know certain resources to use, I wouldn't have been able to bring my app to life. There's certain third-party APIs that were necessary in order to have, the spare change function. And if I didn't identify that, like that in particular, that API that I needed, then spare change for HBCUs would not be available. So I think the most important thing is know what you need to have in your technical stack in order to, make, just everyday collaboration easier, and also know what you need in your technical stack in order to actually make it functional. That would be my biggest advice. And then second to that is, again, I Heart My HBCU, it's a startup. I'm the founder. So I had to build out our entire product management system, right? And I did not start from tech. So I had to determine, who are all the figures that I need on my team in order to make this happen. And so all of that I'm learning from scratch, and I'm building from scratch. And, and I was able to bring it to life. But yeah, really understanding, just again, to recap and summarize, what you need in your organization just within that product management space. You need to be aware of that in order to be successful. And then what do you need in your technical stack in order to be successful?
I envy how organized you are.
Thank you. I try, but you know what? Like, I'm organized at work, but then like my room is dirty. So, and that's how it always, like,
priorities.
Look, you can't have it, you can't have it in all areas, right? So that's my weakness.
Let's do a complete 180 here and go from quick pivots and developing tech to brick buildings with marble columns and everything, and talk about working with financial institutions, because academia, can move quickly, but academic institutions, on the other hand, are usually, slow to move, or I get that may not be true, but it seems, from the outside looking in. Okay, well, that's good that's validated. What's been your experience, and what are some of the challenges of working on a tech app but working with the academic institutions?
It would be the speed at which they can move and make decisions. Absolutely. So a challenge. So there you go. So all HBCUs are represented in my app, but if any HBCU employees, if you guys are listening, call me, because we do have a whole other component where we partner with historically Black colleges and universities, because we want them to, be successful using our platform. So we create a kickoff campaign to help get them more exposure and get the word out that there's this great platform that works, like no matter where you are in your career path, entry level or established, we make it easier for you to donate to your favorite HBCUs. So yes, we have that aspect and we want to work with HBCUs. We do have some partnerships. Shout out to Xavier University, and a real pleasure to work with. Of course, I have other HBCU partnerships. So they're my favorite.
Speaking of partnerships, how have partnerships played a role in your success?
Well, we're still growing. So that's actually something that we only rolled out just within the past 18 months.
Okay.
And that part of the program, we refer to that part of the program as the University Engagement Program. So it's still fresh, still brand new. We have 5 HBCUs that we're currently working with and, having a kickoff or launch with them, again, to get the word out. So I would just say stay tuned, because you will start to see things out there where we are, really working with other HBCUs and partnering with them.
One of the things that I always bring up every time I talk to an entrepreneur, whether it's on this show or at a networking happy hour or anywhere, is failure. And in entrepreneurship, failure is unfortunately inevitable. Tell us how failure has played a role in your entrepreneurial journey.
Because I have failed before. And I think failure is a great thing to have because you can only bounce back from it. You can only because I failed, now I can be great, So if you're an entrepreneur and you're struggling, it's okay. It is okay. It means you are one step closer to success. But yeah, this is not my first tech company to start. I owned Costume Celebration, and our whole focus was to sell party and Halloween costumes, and it didn't last long. And all the challenges in terms of finding the right tech stack, I couldn't do that back then. I really struggled identifying a good team to partner with to bring it to life, communicating my requirements. I struggled, and those were all the challenges that I had that prevented me from being successful back then. And even now, I have this great platform for HBCUs, but I'm still moving, I'm still scaling up. I'm still growing. I don't have what I would deem success. What I have is a really, I have a great platform that could be successful, as long as I refine my strategy. And, so again, for me, it's about refining my strategy, letting more people know about this great platform for HBCUs and how we do make it easier to donate to them. And with that, I will reach success. And success for me is knowing that at minimum that we have 10,000 alumni supporting each HBCU, and that we are raising $2 million, $2.5 million per HBCU. Like, that's what success would look like for me, and that's where I'm trying to get to.
Well, it's incredibly important to have those goalposts or those milestones there because, it can be a pitfall to never know what success is, So you're on the path to success, and you've defined what success looks like for you. Which I think is just a great move and a very important one as you're kind of just defining the startup as a whole and your role in the startup. How have past experiences played a role in or inspired you kind of as you navigate your way toward that startup success?
So past experience such as...
Past experience in a lot of different ways, because
Okay.
you've had a startup that
Mhm.
didn't go where you wanted it to go, right? And but
Yeah.
you've I'm assuming you were quite successful in your marketing career prior to that and things like that. So past success, in your career, past failures, in the startup world, how did those all kind
Mhm.
of meld together to get you where you are now?
Um, what I would say to that is, so I graduated college at a time that was actually in 2007, and it was right before the
What a
great.
great time to get a job.
Yes, yes. What do we call it? The great? Do we call it the great? It wasn't the Great Depression. It was like the second
The
greatest
Great
depression.
Recession, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm like, what do we call it again? We called it the Great Recession, right? And that was just such a challenging time. So I actually worked in radio sales at the time,
Hmm.
and I heard all these fabulous stories when I entered the industry about how it used to be, right? And so even by the time I joined radio in 2007, you know, I loved the radio platform, but it was still on a decline,
Hmm.
right? And experiencing that decline. And so all the perks that happened in the 90s didn't exist in 2007. And then all of a sudden we have a great recession, right? So that, again, I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit.
Hmm.
So it was one day going to happen, right? When I was going to just start my own company. Um, and I felt like it was something I was already looking to do anyways.
Yeah.
And so I really, even outside of there being a great recession, I was always looking for, okay, what's going to be that additional stream of
Hmm.
income? And so Atlanta has, a, it's just a great city to meet other business minded people and entrepreneurs. And so I did go to networking events and and mingled with other Black business owners. And it was just amazing being able to have those experiences in Atlanta. It's really just a mecca for Black excellence. It really is. And that for me was a huge inspiration to me saying, I just want to walk in my greatness.
Hmm.
I want to find a way to leave something long lasting behind and do something great for my community. And and even if it was never a nonprofit for I Heart My HBCU, as a Black woman, I feel like any time I do something great, whether it's for me being promoted within a corporate organization or me starting my own business, that is being also done for my community, because now I'm showing another little Black girl and another little Black boy like how great you can be.
Wow, that's really inspiring. That's got to be an awesome feeling.
It
Um,
is. It's great. So come to Atlanta. you know, it was just really great graduating from Howard University and then being able to just immerse myself in the
mhm.
Black experience, continue that as a young professional. So, anyone who's not from Atlanta, I grew up. In a predominantly white neighborhood in Friendswood, Texas, that's right outside of Houston. I went to Clearbrook High School, so I'm going to shout that out. So I have a lot of Howard University pride, but I also have a lot of Clearbrook High School pride. So go Wolverines. But that experience, I was for the longest like always the only Black girl, and it feels lonely.
Mhm.
It really does feel lonely. And so when I got to middle school and all of a sudden started seeing more of us, it was great. But I still had this yearning to where, God, I want to see more of us. Like I wasn't getting enough. And so going to a HBCU really helped satisfy that yearning desire that I had to get that Black cultural experience. And then after that, moving to Atlanta, it it was an amazing thing to be able to continue to live in that Black cultural experience. And I love it, and I'm thankful for it. And that's been a huge, not even just inspiration, but like just influence on my life.
So you're where you want to be, and you're doing what you want to do, which are both, keys to happiness,
Yes.
but takes a Herculean effort to be an entrepreneur, and there's a lot more than just being where you want to be and doing what you want to do. How has being an entrepreneur, being a founder, affected your personal life, your relationship with family and friends, and that sort of thing? This is another question that we always like to ask because I know the workload and the capacity is there.
I don't know if I'm going to get that unfiltered with you right now. I'm single. So that's part of it. That was a really good question. Gosh, I don't even know. I'm really honest, but I don't know if I want to answer that question honestly.
I'll say that being single might make part of that easier. We get a lot of these, and I don't know, but we get answers to that question that are, sometimes my kids don't see me for a week, and if I've got to go pitch and I'm on the coast and then I come back and that sort of thing, or it's late hours and maybe that's a benefit for you. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't have to think about anybody else. I'm incredibly busy, and it would be great to be able to, insert, someone else in my life, but we'll see is all I can say about that. As far as my family's concerned, they're super supportive of me and everything I do. So no challenges there. I do want to shout out my sister, Tanisha King, because she is incredible. Like, she is my biggest cheerleader, super supportive. So if ever you're starting a business, I mean, you can't just call her. I'm sorry, I can't give her away like that, but you do want supportive people in your life, and it is my sister. She is, again, like my hugest cheerleader, and it's easy for me, even in my darkest moments or when I am facing a challenge, to really get back up. And but she gave me some like supportive words the other day. In fact, it was like just this week. And I felt like I don't really need that. I'm good at, talking to myself and saying, hey, you got this, you can do this, right? But you know how they say check on the strong people? She checked on me, and I appreciated that. And everyone needs someone like that in their corner.
All right. Well, I don't know if we can put Tanisha's contact info in the show notes or anything like that for other people, but that's outstanding that you have somebody like that that's there for you. If you could go back in time to right before you started, this part of your entrepreneurial journey, right before you started developing the app, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently? Gosh, that's a really good question. I would hire a PR person much sooner. I would have did that ages ago, to really get the word out about I Heart My HBCU. I would have did much sooner, absolutely. Especially in this space, when you come out with something innovative, there's always going to be copycats out there. So you want to make sure you get that word out and let people know, like, this is you bringing this to market.
I love that answer, not just because of the importance of PR, and I know PR and marketing and communications are different, but as a marketing professional, you're recognizing that when you become the founder of a company, whatever your strong suit is, you might not have the time to do anymore. And I think that's incredibly important for people to realize. You can have a wide variety of expertise and found a tech company and think that, oh, I'll handle this part that I know so well, but you have to do all these other, when the dominoes are falling all over the place, you've got to be the one to pick them up and reset everything.
Right. So to add on to that, yeah, delegating tasks. Yeah, absolutely. Delegating tasks that, yeah, I would definitely have done that much sooner as well, too.
So you gave us the elevator pitch for I Heart My HBCU at the beginning. Why don't you tell us about the future? What's your vision for the future of I Heart My HBCU?
So my vision for the future is, my vision for I Heart My HBCU is putting the power of preserving HBCUs in the hands of the people. Like, that is my vision for I Heart My HBCU. And so, again, 10,000 strong for each and every HBCU represented in that app. That's my goal for the organization, to have every donor community that we have within that app represented with 10,000 HBCU alumni and friends strong. Yeah, that's the goal. And I want to actually add on to that. We have donor communities, so you donate your spare change, but you also are able to network, communicate, hashtag Black Love It, and then make some connections. There's that engagement piece too. So while you are donating your spare change to HBCUs, you can have some, uplifting conversations with other entrepreneurs in there. Other students can also go in there too. They can pause their donations because, obviously you're a student. But if you want to network with other HBCU alumni who are already in their fields, it's a great way to do it. And then, of course, HBCU alumni, let's unpause and, turn on your spare change and donate, but also, again, get in there and network. So I do want to mention that we have that component.
Have you given any thought as to what you'll do when you meet your goal?
What will I do when I meet my goal? I will set another goal that's much higher and be like, okay, we're not done yet.
Well, I hope that when you get there and right before you set that other goal, you pop a big bottle of champagne or something.
I will. I'll definitely celebrate in some way.
Well, this is a great place for us to take a little break. We'll be right back with our Founders Fast Five, our lightning round questions with Dominique King. Hang on. Thanks again for tuning in to this month's Founders Unfiltered. And of course, we want to invite you next month on Wednesday, March 23rd for the next episode. We'll be talking to Dr. Dan Gurman, founder of OrthoBrain, which might be the coolest named company ever, about his innovative dental platform and his recent Series A funding round. OrthoBrain helps dentists seamlessly integrate orthodontics into their practice by providing education and real-time support. We'll find out more about how he set out to resolve the unmet demand for orthodontics and learn more about the journey that took him from award-winning orthodontist to tech founder. So again, please join us for the next Founders Unfiltered on Wednesday, March 23rd for a conversation with Dr. Dan Gurman, founder of OrthoBrain. Now back to Dominique King. All right, we are back with Dominique King from I Heart My HBCU, and it is time for the Founders Fast Five, our lightning round of questions. Dominique, here's how it's going to work. I have 6 questions for you. You have to answer 5 of them. You get 1 pass. If you answer all 6 of them, you win the Founders Unfiltered prize, which this month is me going like this. That's it.
Okay.
And I'll send you that as an animated GIF.
Okay.
All right. Question number 1. If you weren't an entrepreneur now, what would you be?
If I wasn't an entrepreneur, I don't know what else I could do if I wasn't an entrepreneur, to be honest. Gosh, it's meant for me. It's in my soul. That's all I could ever do.
We're going to count that as an answer. What are
Okay.
you most excited about right now?
Well, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm excited about getting 10,000 people to join each and every HBCU community in the I Heart My HBCU app.
You're an entrepreneur, but you're marketing it hard. It's that pitch and that tagline over and over and over.
That's all I want. 10,000 in each community. Let's go.
Where was the weirdest place you've ever had to jump on a Zoom call?
The weirdest place? The closet.
What keeps you up at night?
Downloads.
How many?
That's all it's
How many?
gonna be. Like I don't think about anything else. Multiple streams of income, like my stock, Robinhood, all of that,
If you could pick a celebrity to be your business mentor, who would it be?
Ooh. Oh, that is a good one. That is a good one. You know what I would say? Oh gosh, I'm gonna go down the list. A business mentor, because I really want to say Kris Jenner. Like, I want to say Kris Jenner. She's amazing. She's incredible. I mean, not all of her daughters, but Kim has a $1 billion company. Kylie has a $1 billion company. I want to talk to Kris Jenner because she made them.
Well, I've got 3 daughters, so if they don't each have $1 billion companies by the time they're in their 30s, I'm going to be disappointed as a dad, I'll say. What was the worst piece of advice you've ever been given?
Ooh, gosh. Well, so what I'll say to that is I probably could listen more to advice people give. Yeah.
That is 6 questions. That is 6 answers. I'm going to do my little dance.
Okay.
Dominique, this has been awesome. Your passion for your startup just shines through. And your story is really inspiring. The fact that you're setting out to be inspiring for others, for the next generation of entrepreneurs, in itself is inspiring. And I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. This has been an absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you for those kind words, Freddie. I have really enjoyed this time with you. And just thank you for inviting me to come on Founders Unfiltered and just share my journey with you. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate it as well, and certainly wish you and the app and the 10,000 downloads nothing but the best of success in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, that's going to do it for today. Of course, thank you one more time for tuning into this episode of Founders Unfiltered, and special thanks to our sponsor, Thompson Heim. Whether you're looking for capital services or connections, Jumpstart is here and ready to help. Start or scale your entrepreneurial journey today by visiting us online at jumpstartinc.org. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time on Founders Unfiltered.